All right, Shalawam, Israel. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, YAHAWASHI, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Yahawah, YAHAWASHI, YAHAWAH, to the elect out there doing this work of faith and labor of love and true sincerity. And as you can see on the screen, I got this clip here that I want to play, from this chick, Erica Alexander. If brothers, remember, she's a chick, from a living single, and she also played on the Cosby Show as well, and she's going to get into, a brief exhortation about her father and about her mom, the grandmother, and I pretty much wanted to label this lesson, spiritual wickedness in high places, and as you're going to hear from this clip, that the spiritual wickedness that are in high places, and we got to keep in the back of our mind, with knowing that the spiritual wickedness in high places, we have a lot to combat within this world, So, I'm gonna play this clip real quick and just do a brief commentary on this. All right. So, Lord willing, this short segment is edifying.
Bowl of New Mexico, and it was a very Southern Gothic existence. My grandmother was a witch. She died in witchcraft. My father started to preach and was ordained since he was 6 years of age. They said he was a special child, that he literally would sit on a porch and people would come up, and before he could even walk, he would stand up, do scripture, and then go back to playing.
Wow.
My father, who was prone to exaggeration and, as to say, straight up lying, would say some of these stories, but my mother, who was not, said, no, Erica, it's very true.
Oh, wow.
And they went around in a car, and they would go on reservations or wherever they were called, live in people's garages, and he was a healer. They would bring him in, and what would happen, there would be a few people in the audience at first. They would pitch a tent, and then he would pray, do something, and then everybody would heal. Everybody would hear about a person who was healed, who they knew their whole life had some ailment or sickness.
Wow.
And then the next night, there would be tons of people overflowing, Indian, Mexican, white, black, to see this young healer. That was my dad.
And that's crazy because your dad got sick at early, 35.
Right.
Wow. Nobody could heal him?
It's funny. He died. They gave him a church in East New York. And before he died, I made some peace with him because he wasn't the kindest person. And he said he wished that that God had healed him, and he always wondered why. Sorry. And I wondered too.
Always.
Yeah, what I'm saying? So with that, I mean, the hell with her damn, crocodile tears that she's about to drop or whatever the case may be, but we hear, she said what? Her grandmother was a witch, right? And her grandmother died from witchcraft. Now the father was a supposed healer, his gifted child when he was young. Obviously, that should tell you something right there. That, the grandmother, she obviously had to put some heavy witchcraft upon, the child for him to be able to do things like that, because if you're doing things like that, you have, of course, the left hand and the right hand. If you're not doing the things under healing and different things like that, and natural remedies or underneath the name of YAHAWASHI, it's pure wickedness, man. But the Most High give us these different examples to show us the power that we're facing within this world, but at the same time to know that the power that we're dealing with, which is in the name of YAHAWASHI, is much greater than the powers of the world, man. According to real quick, just give a brief precept real quick before I let more video play. It says 1 John 4:4, ye are of Yahawah little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Okay, so the Most High, we were able to overcome the world, and Lord willing, we sustain overcoming the world until the end, and we endure unto the end. But it's only because that the spirit that's within us is greater than the spirit that's in the world, is greater than, a spiritual demon Satan, man, and everything that he has planned, because he's nothing but a underboss, so to speak, for the Most High. He's a worker of the Most High, in which these churches ignorantly don't acknowledge, So going back to this point, All right, let this video play.
You said so much that I wanted to, like, first of all, your aunt being a witch.
Yeah, my grandmother.
Being a witch.
His mother was a witch.
She said she died from witchcraft?
Well, she would go, listen, she had a restaurant. You know, black people, we do so many things, catering and all that. So back in the day, you really didn't have a life job. You would do things, and she had a little cafe, you know, a hole in the wall. And she would put dust over the door, so when people came in, the bell would ring and dust would fall on them.
Oh no.
Yes, they called it goofer dust. Well, right across the street was her competitor, and they would have goofer dust too. So she would go back and forth to down deep south like, you know, New Orleans, all that, deep where you're from, you know, and go get stronger and stronger
Goofer dust.
Well, one time she came back, and she, by the way, she would just leave my father, so he'd just be on the streets. One time she came back, and Mexican family took him in, and he didn't even remember English, and they begged her to let him stay. Roberto, stay, please, Roberto. They called him Roberto, and she took him. But she came back, and they said she was all twisted up with her head in between her legs, barking like a dog.
Ooh, and that voodoo, that roots, boy, I'm telling.
Hey, cause that's the stuff that, you know, happens when you're dealing with that wickedness on the left hand side, man. You know, and like how you said, what the father died at what? He got sick and died at what? 35, from dealing in all that goddamn witchcraft, man. That's why. So the grandmother had to pass it on to the son, man. That's why the son was able to do those things at such a young age, man. You know.
And you had to coughing up frogs.
And they said that the women in the church went to go get my eventual godfather, which was William Griffith, and he came, saw it. He left 3 days. He went and they fast. And they pray, and then they come back, and then they laid hands on her, and they got her through it. And this is the story now. Wow. I'm just telling you they got her through it. And when she came out of it, he says, "Daughter, the Lord told me to tell you that if you go back, you'll come back in a box." No, Rev, I promise. I gave this up. I'm not gonna give it to you. He said, "I'm just telling you what the Lord told me to tell you." And that my father's last memory of his mother is her getting in a car, a red Cadillac, because her boyfriend's name was Red. He would just drive through, take her away. And him begging her, "Please, Mom, don't go. Don't worry, Robert, I'll be back." And 2 weeks later, they brought her home in a box.
So have you ever wanted to put a little dust?
Hey, so we see that's the spirit of YAHAWASHI, man. You know, now the Lord could use anybody. She said that's what the preacher told him, or whoever it was, you know, that told her that. The Lord could use anybody, you know. Overall, you know, the Lord ain't dealing with them pastors and preachers in the churches, but the Lord could send them a message to give to somebody. You know, that's something light to the Lord. The Lord used anybody within your life to send you a message, or for you to get something, for you to realize something, man. You know, but that's judgment on, you know, her grandma for being a goddamn witch, and the son was nothing but a warlock, man. You know? So, going to the main scriptures that I wanted to get, you know, because people don't think that this stuff still exists within this time frame. But these are the things that we're battling while we're dealing out here in this world, man. Okay? So, reading the scripture, start at Ephesians 6 and 10. I'll make this brief. It says, "Finally, my beloved brethren," finally, my brethren, "be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Yahawah, that ye may be able to withstand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." Okay? So the only way we can do that is through this word of YAHAWASHI. You know, you got Esau doing all type of sacrifices, you know, witchcraft, you know, crushing up bones and drinking blood and different things like this. You know, you best believe they putting up these prayers of evil and misfortune upon the prophets. And what we doing in return in righteousness, we putting up, you know, curses and wishing evil to befall this place, America. But that's in righteousness though, man. So you got the good versus the evil, man. You know? And everything about this world is evil. If it ain't about these scriptures of YAHAWASHI, it ain't right, man. You know? So this is the things that we're dealing with here, and that we have to constantly be and remembrance of. So sometimes when you dealing with a person in the, in the world, you got to remember you dealing against a demon, man. Because it's different spirits that's dwelling upon them. So people can do things like this in this time frame, or you may see in your area, like in my area, is one spot, it's right next to one of the shopping marts or whatever. Just a damn witch over there with tarot card readings and all that old bullshit like that, man. These are the type of things that we dealing with within this world, man. So we have to be as spiritual as possible and to be able to spot these different things out. And, and to pray, to fast on them whenever we dealing with certain things, that we can get over, the spiritual wickedness that we're up against. And ultimately, we're trying to overcome, the spiritual wickedness of the mark of the beast, the RFID chip. And you best believe that Esau's doing all type of prayers and rituals, over each and every individual brother. And they put in prayers and rituals over certain things to try to have that spiritual backing by the spiritual demon Satan to allow us to succumb to that, man. But we have the spirit of YAHAWASHI upon us, which, Lord willing, is going to help us to prevail, man, if we are a part of that elect, man, So it says, wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Yahweh, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand, man. So we standing now. We are putting forth more effort, the apostle putting forth his decree, for brothers to try to live up to, or to live up to as to the best of their ability, So we trying to do everything that, the Most High feel as though this man has been justified. He's been living up to my word. He's been doing his thing. He's, he's diligent. He's doing what he's got to do. He's a good brother. I'm going to give him the power and the strength to overcome, these wows when that time comes, man. The day of Jacob's trouble. All right. So, with that, I just wanted to bring out this short piece, this short segment, because there's so many people out there that don't believe these things are real, and that we dealing with spiritual wickedness in high places, man. Spirits all around us, we just can't see them because that scab is there over our eyes, man, So, with that, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Ba'ashim Yahawashi, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Yahawah Ba'ashim Yahawashi, YAHAWAH to the elect out there, doing his work of faith and labor of love and true sincerity. Shalawam.